Miglosh. We better do that again. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Got some new news sources this week. We're going to start trying them out because, frankly, some of them just don't update. And, what can I do? So we swap them out, get some new, and that's the way it works. So, let's test I'm all over the place today. Let's test the sound. I'm guessing it'll work. Got some new news sources this week. Okay, so it worked. Okay, so let's wick over to the news source stuff. Facebook launches a U.S. dating service. I thought this was news, but it turns out that it's already available in 19 other countries. And it'll integrate your Instagram posts directly, and later it's going to integrate the Instagram stories as well. If you have a crush on somebody and they also have a crush on you, Facebook will actually tell you both, but otherwise, no. The tricky part is that for it to really work, you have to trust Facebook. And while we don't have too much trouble putting up family pictures up there, and, this is such a bunch of baloney. It wasn't Facebook not securing users' personal information. It was users agreeing to give away their personal information. So, if you didn't click on Cotton or Candy Crush or Farmville, then you were fine. I didn't. They didn't let mine out. It's you letting you out that was the problem. But anyway, we'll skip that. Okay, the corn wars. I had this up in the queue for last week, Friday, and I thought it was big news that Bud Light had been defeated in the corn syrup PR war as a judge orders a packaging change. But they have appealed it, and this war may go on forever, so we're not going to worry about it. Okay, this one I thought was real interesting, especially if you're into eschatology. That's the word, eschatology. The study of death. It is literally, but it's come to mean the study of end times, especially biblical study of it. Eschatology. So, Amazon's testing out a system codenamed Orville. I thought that was interesting. I wonder where that comes from. Where customers scan their hands to pay for their purchases. I like that better than Fingerprints because I always feel like that thing is going to get messy someday and you're not going to be able to get into your computer. So I have fingerprint scanners all over the place on my phones and on my laptops. I also don't really want my fingerprint out there in the public domain if it gets that way. So it's like a fingerprint, but it's touch-free and it's also different. And I like that it's different. I'm not going to do it. But Amazon employees are testing the system in companies' New York offices by hand buying snacks from vending machines. Right now, Orville is only accurate at identifying hands to within 1/10,000% Sounds pretty good. They want to get it 1/1,000,000% before public launch. That's pretty good, I would say. But, it is a little problematic if someone else's hand matches yours and they bill him or bill you for his snacks. I suppose as long as you put limits on it and stuff, you're probably okay. Okay, this week, Apple patented a watch band that IDs people using their wrist skin. So this is coming, and I think I put in a link to Revelation 13:11, which is something about the beast will give you a mark in your hand or your forehead, and you won't be able to buy or sell without it. So we're right on. Oh, yeah, here it is. Revelation 13:16, and the second beast required all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or their forehead. I'm not saying Amazon is the beast. I'm just saying they're developing the technology. Of course, I've been thinking that for a long time. Okay, KFC, if you're wondering what to dress up for Halloween, KFC has partnered with Spirit Halloween retailer and come up with a limited edition costume. This costume is so official that friends and family will be asking for your secret recipe. I don't think that comes with it, though. And here's over here, let's see if there's a pretty good picture of the kid version of the Kentucky Fried Chicken. When I first saw this, I thought maybe they were going to encourage you to give out Kentucky Fried Chicken at the door. The only real benefit of that was you could eat it while they weren't coming. No one comes to our house. It's in a deep, dark woods, and we turn the children into gingerbread. But if you did come, we won't have Kentucky Fried Chicken. Oh, brother. Okay, so I wanted to conclude with an actually decent article. And this one is 3 personalization strategies customers want to see. And I think this is actually pretty good. You got to be careful. Here's a bunch of survey data that says everyone loves personalization. 59% of consumers the trouble is they'll ask a question like, would you rather see ads you're interested in or see ads you're not interested in? And they'll say, well, I guess in the grand scheme of things, ads I'm interested in, without thinking about it too much. 91% agreed they would be more likely to buy from a brand that offered personalized details in the shopping experience. And again, what does that mean? Well, I used to go on Land's End, and they had an outlet section, and you could put in your sizes and search for sale items, which was super efficient. Then they got rid of that this was long ago, and I thought, what a great idea. Just, can I save that? I go on eBay and I search for, I love these old gold cup topsiders. They're just fantastic, and they don't make them anymore like I like. So I go on eBay looking for some, and I put in size 8. But then if you go follow off onto the people who looked at this also looked at, there's no guarantee what size that is, and so you have to be very, very careful. And so, yeah, you could do a lot on your e-commerce site if you save the sizes that I only want. Because outside of that size, for me, doesn't work, right? So 65, but what does that mean? 91% agreed. Okay, well, it depends on what you mean, right? My credit score? No, probably not. Okay, 65% of shoppers expect businesses to remember specific details about them. Yeah, like Land's End, I went on a hiatus because I was in some other business that I talked about on Friday, and they had a deal with Paul Frederick. So I bought most of my stuff from Paul Frederick, and then that discontinued. So I went back to Land's End, and guess what? My name and email and password were all still in there. Now, nothing else was that I could figure out. But anyway, so offering hyper-personal experiences requires a lot of data planning and strategy, but you don't have to have all this know-how or resources to deliver what we think customers want. So here's 3 suggestions we'll get into. One is personalized product recommendations. And you got to be a little careful with this and Amazon that's what I like about Amazon. I go there, I always use a private browser because I don't want them following me around with retargeting. I do the same thing with eBay. It's not that I pick on Amazon today. But they started out with people who bought this book also bought. They had no AI behind it. They had nothing. They just paired the first 5 items that came up with an item that was newly on sale and put those in slots, and those were what appeared. Now, you can do a little better by just looking at what items are bought most often together. That's a pretty simple query in your item detail, and you can actually put in 5 items that look pretty good. If you can't do it, work with us. We'll gladly give you that. But it doesn't have to be AI. It doesn't have to be millions of data points. The top 5 items bought with another item will probably get you 80% of the value of upsell that you could invest millions in trying to improve on. And that's what Netflix found. They had a simple algorithm. They offered a $1 million prize for a better one, and it was too complicated and it wasn't worth it. And so that's kind of the lesson we learn here, okay? But the way Amazon phrases it to this day is people who bought this item also bought. It's an excellent way to frame it, because then it doesn't imply that we're spying on you or somehow we're inside your head and know what you're going to want next, which they don't, and neither do you, by the way. So another thing that people, you may also like these products rather than labeling them as related items or sounds better. I'd be a little careful with that. Another one is ask people for their individual feedback. The North American Fishing Club asked me to predict what species of fish fishermen wanted to fish for by zip code. And I explained why that was a dumb idea. I didn't charge them for that, and I didn't charge them the 50 grand or something that it would have taken for me to try to do what they wanted. Instead, I suggested that they send out a postcard to existing members or ask new members what species of fish did they like to fish for. Probably cost me 50 grand. Great idea. What an idea. Because my neighbor down the street goes to Costa Rica to fish the west coast. My neighbor on the other side drives to Canada to fish for walleye, and I like to fish for bass and bluegills off the pier with a fly rod, but also occasionally go to Pennsylvania and fish for trout in those beautiful streams there. So anyway, sometimes it's better just to ask. And you can test emails for cart abandonment. That is another great one. It's really good because people do forget. I get distracted, and eBay sends me emails occasionally saying, you put this in your watch list, it's about to expire. Excellent, because I do read it. Okay, so those are three that are inexpensive. Any idiot can put them into implementation, and they'll pay. Plus, it gives you a benchmark. So many of these AI companies will say, "Oh, we boosted upsell or order size, 30%." Yeah, okay. Against what? And oftentimes it's against nothing. People jumped right into AI from nothing. So implement simple strategies. If you don't understand that, give me a call. Happy to talk. I'm John Miglash. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will think